Welcome to the Club 54 post-round show here at LIV Golf Miami, the 5th stop of the 2025 season, where today the wind was up and the Blue Monster showed its teeth. Doral played tough, and we're here to break down who handled the challenge the best. Patrick Reed leads the individual leaderboard 5 under. Charles Schwartzel is dropping some pro tips later in the show, and get ready, because today you'll get to see a side of Dustin Johnson you have never seen before. All that and more right here on the Club 54 post-round show. Welcome, I'm your host, Christian Crosby, joined by your favorite LIV golf analyst and my best friend forever, Jerry Foltz.
Yes.
Welcome to the post-round show, Jerry.
Always a pleasure to be here. What a day of golf. What a beast this golf course is. And you just look at the star-studded top of the leaderboard. Major champions galore. Guys, many of them heading to next week at Augusta. You couldn't ask for more for the first round here in Miami.
So, Jerry, I know was it the wind? Is it just how naturally tough this Blue Monster is? What was it so much? It was
yes.
Blue Monster was just biting back on everybody.
At one point, it was well over 3 shots on average, scoring average, over 3 shots over par for the field. It ended up at about 2.5 over par. It just made Patrick Reed's round, other than the finish, the unfortunate double on his last, all the more impressive.
Jerry, was there any guy at the top of that leaderboard that took you by surprise? I'm going to guess and say no.
You know, I didn't think DJ was as on form as he showed today, but we all knew the heart and the desire that burns inside that would lead you to believe he has that. I just didn't see that in him because you can't hide anything out here. You can't mask an entire thing. But I didn't see that coming from DJ, and I think it's going to continue to go that way, because he's a big ballpark ball player, and this is a massive ballpark.
Well, there was that individual leaderboard following round 1 here at LIV Golf Miami. Here is the team individual leaderboard. Phil said in his press conference anything under par was a good round today out there on that course. Looks like Crushers GC finished at the top of that leaderboard, Jerry. 2 under. Everyone else, not so much. Jerry, what's going on here?
We have seen team leaderboards through a round that had basically all 13 teams still alive after round 1. We got the Cleeks at 24 shots back. That's what a golf course can do in terms of separating the field, and it did a great job of it today.
Well, my boy P. Reed, Big Dog, had a great day today.
I thought I was your boy.
Well,
how many do you have?
A good amount.
That's not right. It just takes away the authenticity of it, you know?
Well, you are my guy, though,
okay,
Jerry.
Yeah,
Come on, man.
whatever.
You got on the Travis Scotts. I'm taking some credit for that. Here's Patrick Reed from his big day, finishing 5 under. It seemed, Jerry, like he was playing on another golf course.
It did, almost all day long. A lot of it was the magical putter today. Very comfortable around these greens. He's won here in the past in a WGC event back on the PGA Tour in the day, but he's just rolled in a ton of putts. He didn't actually make everything either, but he did roll in a ton of putts, and he was controlling the ball tee to green.
Would you say when you watched this round from Pat, did it feel like it came from control? Did it come from momentum, or maybe a bit of risk taking? You know,
it can't. I mean, control of the golf ball is his MO. He's never going to overpower a golf course. He is a very precise player. He's also a very good player in terms of managing the golf course. He does it about as good as anybody. But when that putter gets hot, he never putts poorly. But when that putter gets hot, he becomes extremely difficult to beat.
Here's that double bogey as he finished his round.
Just a double cross, trying to hit a little low punch shot to the center of the green, usually with a little fade. You can't miss it left. Not only did he miss it left, but I just talked to Kessler Corain, his brother-in-law and caddy, walking by, and he said it was just a miserable lie. You knew he was going to try and get cute with it, try and save par and lap the field, have a 4-shot lead, dumped it in the bunker, made the double. But still, an incredible round of golf, and he was still in great spirits. He was in great spirits when he talked to Ann, and great spirits when he came by here earlier.
With Patrick Reed in his game, is this sustainable for him on a course like the Blue Monster?
Yes.
Will we see this continue throughout the week, you think?
Yeah. Well, you know, I've been pumping his tires for a long time. I've always liked the kid, and ever since he's joined LIV, I think a lot of people have changed their tune about their view of Patrick Reed. I love the kid. I love his game. I love the way he dissects a golf course as good as anybody, and I'm always pulling for him.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Bryson DeChambeau. He's first in the field off the tee, no surprise there. It looked just overall solid today. What did you notice from Bryson?
The driver. He just let, and Pat Perez said it in the interview. He said you've turned the Blue Monster into a pitch and putt course. A little bit of hyperbole there, actually a lot, but still, he was driving it so well. And he only had one drive all day that he really went for that extra 20 or 30 that he has. He did a great job of keeping it in play all day long. Length here is paramount. precision off the tee. You need to at least keep it away from the water hazards, from the penalty areas, but he was keeping it in the middle of the fairway a lot of the time. So he's well in control of what that golf ball's doing. He did not putt that great at all.
I was going to say, Jerry, the biggest question about Bryson this year has probably been the putter.
Yeah.
What did you see from him on the greens? Is this going to be something he needs to really improve this week? And, of course, next week as he heads to Augusta?
Oh, he'll make putts next week at Augusta. He just doesn't take no for an answer. Kind of like back in the day, a guy named Arnold Palmer used to will that ball into the hole. Bryson DeChambeau has a little bit of that ability to just not take no for an answer. If the short game cooperates next week, mostly around the greens, if he hits it the way he hit it here, I expect him to certainly be there on the back nine at Augusta on Sunday.
He's always been the guy to rise to the occasion when he needs to the most.
Yeah.
So it seems like a perfect opportunity for him to gain some confidence this week as he heads to the Masters next week.
Yeah.
And I don't think he'll slow down at any point this week. I'm sure you're agreeing with that.
No,
right?
I absolutely agree. I think that's a great observation. And I think what you'll notice from him, too, I mean, he in his interview, he even hinted at getting ready for next week. It's on all of their minds. But he also didn't let slip by how important each and every individual week is out here to the competitors, because it means a lot. And there's only 13 individual titles at stake each season.
When I asked you who took you by surprise, who was at the top of the leaderboard, not surprised maybe, but you were happy to see Dustin Johnson at the top of that leaderboard here after round one. Let's take a look at some of his highlights from his day. And Jerry, break it down. What's working for DJ?
DJ, he's got the shortest memory in human life. He really just forgets about everything that just happened within moments of it happening. But when he's playing well and that confidence gets going, as he did there, birdie in the first. He started on the 18th, so that was his second hole, and then he just kept going, kept dialing in those short distances. The wedge game is what really transformed him about 8 or 10 years ago from a good player to a great player, and he's continued to work on that, controlling those distances. That was at 14, his second shot, and it just kept going and going. 15 for birdie.
Gotta love this right here. Look at that.
Yeah.
And always walks off with the typical DJ swagger.
It's a saunter, a swagger, I don't know, an amble, whatever you want to call it. It's cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Nobody defines coolness other than you as much as DJ.
That's probably the coolest thing you've ever said to me on air, Jerry.
And the last.
DJ, can he keep that up?
Yeah.
I mean, it's really fun to watch him when he's in his best form. The four ace is also looking pretty good as a team as whole. So
yeah, we saw DJ get into contention going into the final round. It was a couple weeks ago. Can't exactly remember which international locale I was at, and he really spit the bit on Sunday. It wasn't all quite clicking. This course, you can't put together one round like that without everything clicking, so I expect him to be around on Sunday.
We got to talk about the absolute stud in Phil Mickelson. Turned back the clock a little bit today and had an incredible round one, and he seemed really happy. He said anyone under par had a great round in his press conference. Here he is. Here's some of his highlights. Jerry, break it down. You called this in our pre-round show. I'm going to give you your flowers, Jerry.
I'm going to give you my flowers. I thought you gave flowers at funerals. I ain't quite there yet, but nonetheless, Phil Mickelson has been trending in the right direction. Had a long talk with his instructor, Andrew Getson, yesterday, much of which he asked us not to reveal because Phil likes keeping his secrets and his cards close to his chest. But he's trending the right way from a ball striking standpoint. He's not missing the golf course. Phil Mickelson, sometimes he can still win, even though he seemingly misses 2 or 3 shots off the golf course on the tee. He's not doing that anymore. He's controlling it a little bit better. He's also gearing up for next week as well, like everybody else, because he knows with 6 majors, that's how players are defined. He'd love to notch another one and do something that nobody ever thought possible at 54 years old to win another. But the putter has changed. He's gone back to the same style of putter he used as a kid who won on the PGA Tour as an amateur at Arizona State, winning the Tucson Open way back in the day. And he was so renowned for his short game, Phil Mickelson was. He's getting back to the roots in terms of his putting technique, the equipment he's using, and it just gets over that putt. Yeah. And in my mind, when I'm watching, he's turning back my clock a little bit because he used to make everything. And right now, you see in his backside a whole lot because he's bending down to pick that ball up quite regularly.
It's so much fun to watch him. He's #1 in long approach this season. It seems like this course is just playing so well to his strengths. Phil Mickelson doing his thing. More to come here in the Club 54 pre-round show. Stay with us. access. LIV is a new series that gives all access to the viewers. It is incredible, and it's coming out very soon. How about this? Take a look.
This will never happen. They won't get the players.
You're wrecking the game.
People said nobody's going to show up. All right.
All these guys are done. They're not competitors anymore.
We don't care. Don't ever tell me that I don't care about golf.
I want you to look out the windshield and not the rearview mirror. If people said bad things about you, I'm sorry. You're big boys. Get through it. Get over it.
I've had my phone ringing from multiple players on the PGA Tour.
Is that right? Anyone you can tell me, or you don't feel at liberty?
I mean, I don't want you to steal them.
Owning a team is not easy. There is that same sense of accomplishment and doing a good business deal.
From the time I was 12 years old, I wanted to be a professional golfer. But have I earned my spot yet? No.
If you don't win, what's the point?
Winning takes care of everything.
It's like the Kardashians, but better. You know what I'm saying?
Make sure you guys check that out Monday, April 7th on FS1. Jerry, did you have a moment to see that?
I got to screen most of it,
okay.
and it's awesome. Our original content team, original productions team, led by Michael Mann, they're just amazing at what they do. It shocks me every single time I see one of their creations, and it just brings professional golf to a different level and even a different audience with the way they're able to do that magic with the cameras.
Well, make sure you guys tune in to see Live to Win, a new series just for you. It's pretty incredible stuff. Must-watch TV for sure. You guys can check that out on Monday on FS1 at 8 p.m. Eastern. All right, now you can't have a Club 54 post-round show without tossing it over to the one and only Rachel Drummond. She's with Charl Schwartzel. He's going to give us some pro tips today. Rachel, over to you. How's it going?
Christian, how are you doing? Now, as you've said, I'm joined by Charl. Thank you so much for joining us. You're looking at your captain over there.
I'm looking at him because I think he's struggling with his putting, and I can almost see from here what he's doing, but I'll let him be for a while.
Now, let's talk about your round today quickly. You played spectacular, 2 under. Talk us through how tough it was out there.
Yeah, I was just saying to you, I don't think there's an easy hole in this golf course. You know, I finished on the third, we had to finish on the 4th hole, but that 3rd and 4th hole was tough, you know, and I actually played extremely well. Even on 18, I felt like I had a really good shot on 18. Wanted to hit it up the left side and felt like the wind was going to drift it towards the fairway, and it actually fell left. Went in the water, and then the same with the second shot, straight at the flag, and it fell left. Anyways, you know, felt like good swings, but made double. But the rest of the round was really solid. I drove the ball better, you know, and that's sort of been the problem for a while now. So, but I had a good putting round again, so
and that's good. Exactly what we want to talk about. Now, for people that don't know at home, you have 2 putters in the mix. I struggle with 1. So talk through that logic for us.
When the greens go over 12, but actually 12.5, you know, once they start getting over that speed, I change to a lighter head. So it's exactly the same putter. Actually, the other one's a green head, but that's irrelevant. It was just happened to be that way. But this one's 450 grams in the head, and that one is 435. So 15 grams. It makes quite a big difference when you've got, you know, a long putter.
Yeah. And talk to everyone at home about the weight. Why does it help when the greens get quicker?
So, look, it took me a long time to figure it out. I went through about 15 of these putters before I could find it, but I want to accelerate. So if I feel like I can't accelerate, you start decelerating, which makes your putt awful. So, especially with these putters, when they get really quick, because I got so much mass, I like to go lighter, so that I can feel like I can keep making the same stroke as I would with this one on a green that's maybe 12 or 11.5 on the stump.
You watch everyone go change putters now. They're running to Bob Sports, whoever does putters. Right, let's have a look at some putts now. So when you get to a tournament, how do you calibrate the speed of the greens?
I'm not like Bryson that comes out and measures everything. I'll always, for the first 2 or 3 days before the tournament, I like to hit a lot of long putts on the putting green. This one's nice and big, so you know. And if you do that every day, I feel like I get a good feel for the greens, you know. So there's no real special technique I do. It's just hit putts that way and hit putts this way. So you're going into the grain, down grain, and I get a real good feel of pace.
And do you set a target as in it has to finish a certain place behind the hole, or is it just...
I putt awful if I do that.
Okay.
Really, I do.
Don't do that at home.
Like, no, I need to look at the hole. So if I look at the hole where it needs to finish, that's how I putt well. Once I start doing things where there's drills behind, or it changes my focus. So for the last sort of year that I've been putting much better than in the past, I've really focused on visualizing the ball going into the hole.
Okay, well, let's see that now. We've actually got the live line simulated. We obviously can't see it here, but on the TV they have. This is actually similar. I've done my homework, similar to the putt you had at Augusta when you won in 2011. So come on, let's see you hit one, Charl. We're going to put you under pressure.
It's similar. The one at Augusta was about a foot to the right. This one's going to be about a meter.
Okay.
So yeah, it's about a meter, this one. So I always use a line, and I don't use the line for precision. I just use it as a guide.
Got you.
So my fault is to aim narrow. Always been, I aim narrow. So like this, especially this one that's going to turn a lot, and with the wind, I think I aim, 2 foot right, but my eyes look too close to the hole, so the line helps me start it out on the right side. So.
And that's an amazing tip for everyone at home, because people get so, focused on that line. Sometimes it can get distracting. So let's see this one.
So for me, it's a guide. So I've got it out about 3 feet there. Yeah, and now what it helps me is, because that's already set up sort of in the area that I'm looking at, I can now look and visualize this putt on the arc going into the hole. So. Right,
Channel Augusta 2011.
Jeez.
I remember exactly where I was at that moment. Pretty good. Look at the celebration, slightly different. Now, we're going to talk about mentality. So, in that moment, it doesn't get any bigger in your career than having that chance to win at Augusta and the Masters. Talk about what was going through your head mentally and how you managed to stay focused and in the moment.
I must say, like, birdie 15, 16, 17 was all, felt like big determination. I was very much in the zone, not thinking about too much. It sort of just kept happening. But I got to 18T and I was damn nervous. I felt like, this is that one-shot lead. I've always dreamt about winning the Masters, and now you got this one-shot lead. And you sort of inside yourself thinking, look, if you make par, you got 90% chance of winning. And the other guys to make birdies, they also stressed, So that tee shot was hard. And when I put it down the middle, I felt like... anyway, it still wasn't over. He just threw the wedge about this distance. And I remember looking at that green, and it was so crusty. It was shiny, and it was, your nerves are running, and you're thinking, you would two-putt this 1,000 times, but no, don't mess it up.
Yeah. Take a deep breath.
So all I did was I focused on speed. I aimed it. I knew it was about a foot to the right. I aimed it out there, and I really focused on just speed. And
how did you feel when that putt dropped?
I don't know. I think the celebration shows it today. There was this big relief.
It did. Let's see one more putt for us. Now, obviously, you've got a challenge tomorrow, this tournament. What do you have to do around here to putt well?
You need a little bit of luck.
Yeah, always.
It's very windy, so this makes it very difficult. With this wind, you've got to go a bit more, and you've got to feel it. So a few times today, I backed off when I stood over it, where I could feel the gust. If I continued to hit it, the wind would blow it. So I backed off and waited for it to just slow down a bit, and then went back in and actually made them. So I think it's very much try to get very disciplined with your pace and what you're feeling. Yeah. There's a lot of feel involved in putting out here.
In the moment. Come on, let's see one more, and then I just quickly want you to look at some highlights just to give you the good vibes before you go into tomorrow. It's chances. Oh, right, quickly, let's have a little look at these moments today and some putts that you've held, and tell us, what was going through your mind on these. Like you say, the conditions were absolutely ruthless. 4, I believe. No, you finished on 4. 7.
7. That was my first birdie I made today. That was actually the easiest part I had. That was about a cup to the right, very flat on the tee. 8 was playing extremely hard. Right at 3 wood and I still had 100 yards. And 8 place, that was the best. That one was 14. Yeah, so uphill, wind off the right, the grain, and it turned about 2 cups. And I knew if you don't keep the pace up on that one, they always die in front of the hole, and that was a great stroke.
And putts like that on 16, it always helps if you stiff it and hit it close, doesn't it? Especially around these greens.
I know, yeah, so 16, you know, and it's difficult, you know, even those little 4-footers with the wind blowing, especially on 16 was quick. You still got to make a committed stroke.
You've given us so much gold, so you've got to stay present, everyone at home, because then you can feel the wind, feel the situation, get 2 putters, and that's all from us, Charl. No, you haven't. Thank you so much for all your wisdom, and play well the rest of the week. Thank you.
Big thanks to Charl, big thanks to Rachel, and now joining us on the Club 54 post-round show, 3-time PGA Tour winner, 4 Aces champion, my good friend Pat Perez. Pat, I know the winds were a little tricky out there today. You follow Bryson DeChambeau, Joaquin Niemann, John Rahm. What did you observe out there today with those 3?
A lot. I saw how to play the course, which I've never done before. So long, straight, shoot under par, all those good things. Bryson played good. Waco did not have his stuff today. I don't know what happened. But John played okay. He was kind of up and down, but Bryson played solid, made the course look short. But yeah, Waco just didn't, he didn't have it for whatever reason.
Now, you've played 23 competitive rounds here at the Blue Monster. How did it feel being on the other side, Pat?
Today I actually felt great. It was so windy. I didn't feel like shooting 80
got a little
today.
breeze while you were out there.
I didn't feel like shooting 80 today, so that was actually nice. No, but you know, I've always loved the challenge of this course. I played well when we won the 22 deal, and you know, I do like the challenge, but it is a very hard course.
We're going to talk a little bit more about that later here on Club 54 post-round show, and there is the beautiful Blue Monster course. Hosted some PGA Tour events for over 50 years, and now a premier venue of LIV Golf. Now, we're going to have some fun with you, Pat, before we dive into your day, and it's a segment that I love so much, and the fans love it more. It's called Pat Chat.
Oh, boy.
You guys provide the chat. We provide the Pat. We got some questions. We have no idea what questions these are. They're submitted by you, the fans. And Pat, you just got to be brutally honest, as if you do anything else, right? All right, let's get into our first.
That's all I can do.
First question for you, Pat, from a fan. What's the best excuse you've heard from a fellow golfer after a terrible shot?
There's actually too many. I couldn't even give you one. There's so many. Oh, I don't even know. I mean, anything. I mean, I don't even know. There's so many of them. I can't even remember the last.
Try to channel that memory of yours. There's got to be a moment. It could be you. It could be someone you made.
It's just not very good. I mean, I never had an excuse. I just said it wasn't that good.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, here's another one. Hey, Pat, are you keeping your game sharp in case a team needs you? That's a good one.
I am retired for this year.
Okay,
not
specifically for this year.
Yeah.
Okay, that's an interesting response, but I'll leave that there for you, Pat. I'll tell you what, though.
I do play the Friday game at Silverleaf, but you know, it's a high noon followed by tequila type round.
Oh, that's exciting.
So yeah, that's it.
All right, last one. Hey, Pat, how do you keep your cool out on the course after a shank?
I don't shank it, so. But if I did, I'd probably be a little upset. If you shank, you just got to somehow forget it.
You just let it go. Just let it go and move on. Let go and let God.
Thank God I can't remember the last one I hit.
More to come here. And here's a shot of the beautiful Blue Monster, one of the most iconic and challenging courses. All right, Dustin Johnson is one of golf's best players, and he has one of the best game stories ever. We have What I Live For, which is a brand new feature that gives behind-the-scenes access to players and teams and their stories. Let's take a look at this one.
If you could design a human being to play golf, from a body standpoint, you would design Dustin Johnson.
His mobility, his balance, his body awareness.
tremendous amount of speed, tremendous amount of power.
Big part of our business is scouting. There was something very, very special about Dustin. He had a certain presence, he had a certain swagger.
Dustin Johnson, up it goes, in it goes! Victory for Dustin Johnson!
And then the golf swing, right? It's iconic.
It's so effortless, but yet it's so powerful. It's kind of just poetry in motion.
I think because he has outwardly kind of a nonchalant attitude, it can come across that he doesn't care.
I definitely care. No doubt about that, but I just try not to get too excited or too upset, while I'm playing.
I mean, the amount of writers that supposedly know a lot about this sport that said, yeah, talented, but he's never going to win because he doesn't care. Or the narrative changed. When he won in 2020 and Tiger Woods puts a green jacket on him.
But it's not as simple as he makes it look.
There's nothing simple about golf. I do try to simplify it as much as possible, but there's a lot that goes into every single decision you're making. Golf, you lose way more times than you win. So taking those things you did well and putting it to the next time that you have a chance and, see if you can come out on top.
And I think a lot of that is where he grew up.
Grew up on a public golf course. Definitely not a country club kid.
I kind of grew up in Irmo. It's just outside Columbia, so no good golf courses. We had a course, Weed Hill Driving Range, and it was nothing but weeds, hence the name. We played, every sport pretty much all day, every day. Playing team sports, if you didn't have good teammates, it didn't matter how good you played, you weren't going to win. So I picked the hardest sport to play, golf.
I felt a little pressure, I was a little nervous.
I just like the individuality of it. It was just you and the golf course.
Thanks to today's win, Johnson now holds both the Lexington and Columbia City championships.
He was a scrappy kid, loved to play in the money games with the older guys.
I mean, you gotta, especially if you don't have much money in your pocket, you better play well. I wasn't going to school. I was missing to go play golf. They didn't like that too much. So that was a bit of an issue. In high school, I drove past Coastal and had my grandma fax the coach my resume. And he gave me a call and I went and met him the next day.
I don't think Dustin would be where he is today without Coach Charl's influence in his life. First and biggest thing Alan did is give Dustin a chance.
DJ started Coastal 2004. I didn't really look at DJ as we need to get him to help us win. I looked at a kid that, hey, here's a South Carolina kid who needs a chance, and let's open that door and try to make that happen for him. I give this guy a little bit of tough love. He fought it like every 19-year-old would.
Everything he told us to do, I did the opposite.
His sophomore year, we're at the Golf Club of Tennessee in Nashville, and he's not playing well.
First hole of the tournament, I fatted a 9-iron into the creek to the right, made double.
And thankfully, there was a lightning storm, and we all got pulled in.
I came back out and I made like a 40-footer for eagle, and then I think I birdied the next 6 or 7 after that. That was my first big college win. After that, something kind of clicked.
He ended up making All-American that year and then made first-team All-American his next 2 years. He's never, ever stopped since then.
He's one of those unique players that throughout the course of his career can do things on the golf course that the other people playing the sport just say, I just can't do that.
And he makes it. Dustin Johnson, ice cool on 18.
What kind of big brother is he?
We won the U.S. Open and the Masters. Just two knuckleheads, grew up in small town South Carolina.
He's won the FedEx. He's won the Nicholas Award. He's been on Ryder Cup winning team, President's Cup winning team.
While he's never been anything but a world-class player, he has his ups and downs, just like anyone else.
I've struggled a little bit the last, like, say, year and a half or so. It's just everything hasn't been clicking at once.
You got to start training and playing at the right time, and that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. So in a lot of ways, he has made me become a better instructor and a better coach because I have to streamline everything that I'm trying to do.
It's better if you come out and do 20 minutes of focus practice than, you know, an hour and a half or 2 hours where you're not really doing anything.
Good backswing. There is a specific time that we have to work because he's going to take his kids to school, he's going to go to all their games.
Loves his kids, loves his family, cares a ton about everyone else. He's just not gonna pound himself on his chest and say, look at me.
He has lived his life in the spotlight, but I promise you, the spotlight has affected him far less than people realize. He just doesn't care what people write about him because he knows who he is.
He doesn't make decisions to get exposure. He makes decisions to help people.
They established the Dustin Johnson School of Golf at the TPC of Myrtle Beach.
Coach T does a great job with all that stuff. I don't know if I did something for him or if he did something for me because he's the one running it.
We established the Dustin Johnson Foundation a number of years ago. They created the Dustin Johnson World Junior Invitational Tournament.
We try to give back locally to kids that can't afford to play golf, try to get as many clubs in as many kids' hands as we can.
He's given over $1 million to junior golf in South Carolina the last 10 years, and he's not going to stop.
Anything to do with South Carolina and junior golf, I'm all for, and you know, try to help as much as I can. That one kid that you know might get a break that he needs, that you know can make it to the next level.
He's a unique character. There are things that have happened in DJ's career, both on and off the golf course, that would have derailed someone that it isn't mentally strong. So it's been fun to watch someone like DJ with this enormous talent reach his potential, because that is very, very rare.
I still want to win. That's always the goal. I feel like my game's still good enough to win and compete. I think I still got a little bit left in the tank.
Nice.
And what a special piece there on Dustin Johnson, What I Live For. I mean, that was pretty incredible. Pat, you know this guy better than most, right? Was there anything that you just learned from that piece that you didn't know about Dustin?
Maybe the junior golf and college stuff. I knew he went to Coastal Carolina, but I didn't really know, you know, with Coach T, about, you know, his whole backstory there. But everything else is, you know, I met Dustin in 2008. He joined us at a course in Jersey on the tour, and he kept waiting for this green to clear at 290. And, you know, I knew his caddy. I'm like, dude, like, who the hell is this guy? I said, you know, it's Dustin Johnson. He's been on tour all year. I said, I haven't seen him once. This is a playoff event.
Yeah.
And he waited, and I kept telling him, I said, dude, you can't get there. He hit 4 balls, and he finally hit on the green. And just got to know him, and, you know, everything they said in there is right. He's not about himself. He's about everybody else.
Yeah.
And that's just the way he has always been. He always takes care of everybody else. He doesn't want any credit. He doesn't want spotlight. He doesn't want nothing. He just wants to help people and kind of do his thing and go his own route.
That's really cool to hear you say that. I mean, you've played so many times. You've won with him as well, obviously, with the 4 aces. When you look at him, you get that up close and personal. You see a lot of the behind the scenes. How much of his talent would you say is work ethic versus natural talent, especially now at this point in his career, considering he's having a stronger season? You see him on the uptick here. How much would you say is
Well, he's a true athlete. I mean, he can dunk a ball. He can throw a football 40 yards. I mean, he can do things that other athletes can do, which we can't, you know, as golfers. So, you know, he's a true athlete. He's strong. He's tall. You know, he moves in ways in golf swings that people just don't do. I mean, you would never teach someone his swing. Yeah. You know, the position at the top and then to be able to bend through going and then hold this way. You just can't do it and create that kind of speed. You have to have an amazing amount of torque and strength to be able to do it. And he's just one of these natural golfers. But, you know, the misconception, like Claude said, he doesn't care. Of course he cares. He cares so much, but he doesn't let it on. He doesn't talk about it. He just does his own thing, you know, day in, day out, works hard. Behind the scenes, you know, people see him on the range. You know, he's working hard all day, but at home is when he does the most.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't see. He doesn't have to put on social media and all these things and have to do interviews about it. That's the way he does things.
Before we change subjects, do you have a favorite story about DJ that's safe to share on air? You got anything for us? No. Nothing that's safe, huh?
No.
All right, well, let's talk about a guy. I love the honesty. Let's talk about a guy, Joaquin Niemann, who we talked about in the pre-round show, who's just been phenomenal this year. Did not have the day he was looking for here at the Blue Monster, but he is out on the range as we speak, working on his game. No surprise there, one of the hardest working guys we know. Pat, what happened out there? You were following him today.
You know, he got off to a great start. A phenomenal drive down one, killed it a mile down there. You know, made 4 on 2. He actually, the second putt he hit, the first putt he hit went a mile by. 3 hits in the water. You know, hits the wrong club, in my opinion, to you know, just try to make 5.
Yeah.
Made double. You know, it just kept going, hitting the water on the next hole again. So he had 3 balls in the water in 2 holes. And then on this kind of course, you just cannot compound those mistakes. You can't make enough birdies coming back. It's just hard to do. He was just off. I don't know.
Yeah. Do you think the performance had anything to do with maybe the high expectations for him or the pressure?
I don't think it's the pressure. He knows how to do it because he's played against Rahm all last year and he played them today. That's nothing new. They're great friends. I don't know if something about next week is getting to him yet or whatever, but he was just out of sorts today, and it just didn't look right. I hope he can forget about it because he's such an amazing, kid for one, and talent and player. I hope he can forget about it and just kind of move on and try to get, the snowball going the other way for next week.
You followed Bryson DeChambeau, Joaquin Niemann, and Jon Rahm. They started off on the 3rd hole there. Bryson DeChambeau got started first, hit it straight down the fairway. Then Joaquin Niemann came up. He hit it a little to the left, had some struggle. It ended up going into the water.
Yeah.
We have a little highlight of it. Take us through it, Pat. You were there up close and personal. Tell us what you saw in that moment on hole 3 as the guys were teeing off.
Bryson, so I was standing underneath that big tree on the right, and he took it over me, which was in the middle of the water, and it was perfect. I mean, the drive was incredible.
So there's Bryson's.
I mean, that is a big drive. He turned it into a chip and putt, that hole is not a chip and putt.
Now here's Joaquin Niemann here.
It seemed like he did the same thing, but he kind of came out of it and it floated up in the wind. It was never going to come back.
Had a little trouble there, right into the water.
It was so far right, I didn't even see it.
And from there, of course, Jon Rahm followed there, went a little to the left. And I'm assuming this is what the Blue Monster can do for you. We've had 3 guys, 3 different examples of 3 different results. One straight, one to the right, and then one to the left, of course. Here from Jon Rahm.
Yeah, he was trying to hit a cut into that fairway and just turned it down and held it. It was called a double cross, and he just hit it straight left. He had a terrible lie. But, he was able to make 5, which was the worst you can do from that left side.
Yeah, you've been in groups like this before, Pat. When you're paired with guys who are this dangerous in their own right, how hard is it to just stick to the plan when you're surrounded by greats, you're paired with them? Is that difficult to do?
Like, I play with Tiger a bunch, and everyone's for him. No one's for you; they're for him. And it's kind of the same way out here when I got paired with them. And you just do your thing. You've proven yourself. You go out, you got a game plan. You just go and you do your thing, and you hope it works out. And if you make mistakes, you're just trying to get those shots back during the round.
What would you say you're expecting from Joaquin Niemann for the rest of the week? Are we going to see a better performance tomorrow here?
Yeah, I definitely think he'll play better tomorrow and Sunday. But as far as the tournaments, damage is pretty much done. But hopefully, I think a goal for him would be try to get it back to even par. Yeah. Even par would give him a nice finish. It would also give him his confidence again going back into next week. at Augusta, I think that would really help a lot. Hopefully, hopefully he does. I mean, he's so good. He's, he could shoot 65 out here.
All right, well, we're going to talk more to you about this. We're here in the Club 54 post-round show. More to come. The Blue Monster has been biting back. All right, now, as you know, LIV Golf is all about the behind-the-scenes access, and we got Bubba Watson to agree to get mic'd up for round one. Let's take a look how his day went.
Mostly out of the right, a touch of hurt, like 2 o'clock, call it. Yeah, it is. I agree. I like that 2 o'clock, just looking at the clouds, though.
Yeah. Are you okay with chippy this, or are you thinking one less because of that?
No, I like chip.
I kind of like, if there's no hurt, then we should be playing the other one.
Okay, yeah.
Don't you agree?
I agree, yeah.
I was thinking driver.
Okay. Just, what do you think, just a dink cut, or?
Yeah, you see that sign in the water?
Yep. Yeah, just cutting it off of that?
Yeah.
Okay. What, 7 short of it?
At least 7 short of it.
Yeah, I agree. It's into the grain there, so, my first thought was 9 short of it.
Right.
So that's 130. Little bit of jump and wind.
Yeah, I think this looks good.
It's definitely good, yep. Yeah, we're right in between here. Like, I know over here it goes left, over here it goes right. So we're right in between here. I think the only reason I'm saying that is because I just see the grain left to right. Just a hair left to right.
Yeah.
You good with straight?
I like it pretty straight.
Yeah.
Okay. What about a driver up in there?
Driver's fine. That's going to get you up in that bunker.
Let's see.
And like you said, if you're okay with that bunker shot, then that's fine, yeah.
Absolutely love to hear Bubba Watson game planning just like this. This is the final LIV event before the Masters, making it a key tune-up for Augusta-bound players. Over 7,500 yards with deep bunkers and thick rough. And as you can see, it is a challenging course here at the Blue Monster. All right, Pat, we're going to talk a little bit more about the conclusion of round one. We're going to take a look at our leaderboards. I want you to talk us through it as we pull up the individual leaderboard. Following round one, Patrick Reed, 5 under finish. Phil Mickelson, however, right under him in second with a 3 under finish. Dustin Johnson, your boy we just spoke about, and Bryson DeChambeau, all there. We have a packed leaderboard, Pat. What do you think about this?
I'm excited for Pete Reed. He always works as hard as anybody in the game, and it's nice to see him. He loves this course. I'm not surprised he played well. He's won here before. He loves coming here. He loves the toughest challenge he can find, which is why he's won at Augusta. He's won here. He's won in 2 hardest courses you can play. I love to see it. DJ played well. I saw him. I watched him play a bunch of holes this week. He's been swinging phenomenal.
And here's a little bit further down the leaderboard here. Take a look at this. John Rahm finishing at 16. What do you think's happening with John Rahm? He's somebody you said that Waco should be watching out for. We know what he can do.
Yeah.
Legion 13, obviously the defending team champs here in Miami. What did you notice from John? We didn't talk much about him.
He was up and down. It wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. Just kind of, not really John Rahm-esque. But I can promise you he's going to be top 10 by the end of the week because he's hitting it good. He's hitting the driver good. We'll see what happens.
We're going to go a little bit further down here as we look at the leaderboard. Sam Horsfield at 29th. Martin Keimer, Ian Poulter. Anything sticking out to you here as we finish round one? If you go a little bit further, Ripper GC, Lucas Herbert.
My boy Pooh shot 5 over. I thought he was going to play better than that. Hopefully he can bring it back. But that was my dark horse anyway. But those are about the scores I thought. I thought we'd see a bunch of scores 7 over and higher. So just because once you get it going sideways here, you can't correct it. You're not trying to fix your game on the course out there.
Now, at the top of the day, we asked you for your predictions. Are you sticking with what you said in the pre-round show?
With Pooj? Can't now. He's 10 back. But I'm really pulling for Reed or DJ. I want one of the aces to win. So it'd be great to see Reed. He's finished second. He's finished third. He's finished everything. But it would be great. And like I said, he loves this place. He's excited. I talked to him for 5 minutes after. He's excited to get him tomorrow. So, I'm really pulling for him. I hope he can continue going. But 36 holes out here, a lot can go south. So anything can happen the next 2 days.
Can't wait to see it. Pat, we'll stick around for a little bit more. But first, we got to toss it over to one of the best dressed in our production squad, the one and only David Faraday with his WTF feature. Check this one out.
Yes, it's that time of year again. The azaleas and dogwoods are popping. The patrons whisper reverently, and there's the smell of new cut grass and old money in the air. And the finest players in the world begin to collectively soil themselves at the thought of Amen Cornet. The first thing a player should do in advance of the Masters is to burn his cell phone. Q? And I mean, not anywhere near the property, just in case. In fact, burn the wife's cell phone and the dog's cell phone and the cell phones of any idiot family members or hangers-on that you might have. And everyone has a hanger-on at the Masters, and it's always the one with the cell phone. Hey, I didn't write these rules. You know, it's just the way they are. Now it's time to prepare mentally, and this means emptying out your emotional suitcase all over your hotel room and weeping uncontrollably for about 10 minutes. I always found that this helped, kind of like a mental colonoscopy, if you will. You've got to clear your mind of the god-awful, soul-destroying memories of the time you blew that 3-shot lead on the back nine because you started to see that finish line. Because the finish line in any tournament is the line that you're at right now. And this week, it's a blue monster at Doral. It's not a green straitjacket in Georgia. The one thing you have to do to win any championship, major or not, is stay in the present, which is what every player in the field is going to tell us that they are doing this week. Even though they're not. Let's face it, Jack and Tiger didn't slip on those green jackets after spending a week doing jello shots in Cabo, did they? Maybe next week someone from here will make it 2 in a row.
One thing's for sure, those WTS from David Feherty never get old. I literally love them, and the fans love them too. All right, let's talk. 12 LIV players are headed to the Masters next week, 7 of them being Masters champions. And of course, they're all playing well. They're all at the top of the leaderboard here at the Blue Monster, which is no surprise to anyone. You said a little bit about it in the pre-round show, and they're all playing extremely well. Let's take a look at some highlights from all of our LIV players headed to the Masters, starting with Sergio Garcia. Now, I know you're seeing a lot of these highlights, perhaps for the first time, Pat, but just talk about Sergio Garcia and how do you think he's going to perform with his game, with his skill set, and how this course is set up for him?
I think Sergio's on a mission this year. I think he wants to get on that Ryder Cup. I think he wants Luke Donald to see him and notice him. I know he loves Augusta more than anything, so he will be excited to get there next week and try to win again.
Yeah, now, you said earlier, this is a huge confidence boost heading into Augusta, right?
Yeah.
It's great to get a win here. It's great to feel good about the game, getting good form before heading there. And this is what I'm seeing right here. Did you notice any higher level of competition between these guys when you were out there?
I did, but when you think of Augusta and you think of this course, these guys that have won that are going that haven't won, they're all top players. And there's a reason for it. So when you get a hard course, you know, the cream really does rise to the top on a course like this.
Yeah.
So you're going to see guys that have won on hard courses in the hardest conditions with the most pressure. I'm not surprised to see them on top of the board here.
Now, here's a question for you, Pat. Who are you expecting to perform very strong next week in Augusta?
Next week?
On this leaderboard, who are you expecting?
I got Reed, I got Johnson, I got, you know, kind of a darkish horse Phil. I mean, he's been playing great this year. I expect Sergio to play well, Terrell Hatton. Let's see. I lost the list of them. But, you know, I expect about half of them to play really well.
Yeah.
I really do.
Now, this was our first stop in the U.S. We had the leaderboard. We can pull it back up for you if you want. Okay. First stop in the U.S., 5th LIV tournament here. There's
Brooks,
the list for you.
I forgot about Brooks.
You do what you want here in the show, Pat. Just all you got to do is say it.
Yeah,
we'll pull it up for you. Well, there's the full list of all of our players qualified for the Masters. And as you can see, a lot of these names are at the top of the leaderboard here at the Blue Monster. Pat, your first time as a broadcaster here at the Blue Monster. And I got to say, you're doing a pretty darn good job.
I'm trying. I'm trying to follow your lead.
Any final thoughts before we close out Club 54 post-round show? What do you got for us, Pat? As you say, give me something good. Give me something good.
There's going to be more people tomorrow, next 2 days. I think it's going to be loud. I think it's going to get rowdy. I hope it does. I think you're going to see some great golf. You could see some disasters, but we don't know what we're going to say. All right,
well,
goodbye.
Thank you guys for watching. That's a wrap from day one here at Trump National Doral. A wild opening round. Where the wind was up, the Blue Monster been back, and the leaderboard is already packed with drama. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the pre-round show tomorrow. Peace. Peace.